So hi everyone, I'm back. I made it back, and so this is a few days after I after I got back to LJ, Georgia, and I just wanted to do another video because I had some more footage that I wanted to show you of some places that I went while I was out in South Dakota and in Wyoming. And so anyway, it'll either be one video or two videos depending on how long they are. But the one place that we went was the museum at the South Dakota School of Mines. And yes, you can actually get a mining degree or a geology degree there. It's a university level, and it's a very impressive place. But the museum was what we went through, and that was exciting. I loved to see that. They had, of course, all the or several different dinosaur skeletons or casts of the dinosaurs, and a lot of rocks, and of course dinosaur eggs. They had dinosaur eggs there too. So thought that was really interesting. The other place is the Black Hills Institute. I think it used to be a school. I really don't know much about it as far as its history is concerned, but I will say that it was very interesting, and lots of dinosaur skeletons and fossils and rocks. I mean, it was fun. They even had a little small baby woolly mammoth cast that they had made, because they found a cast a few years ago. I mean, they found a mummified baby woolly mammoth a few years ago, and I think that was really neat. So you'll see that on the video. So enjoy. There's also the rock shops that they have at these museums, and of course I love rocks, and I couldn't help but get a few pictures and footage of that too. So anyway, God bless you. I hope you enjoy the video. So I'm here at the Black Hills Institute, and they have a very impressive collection of fossils and rocks and all kinds of other crazy stuff. Like, check out this Brazilian agate right here. I'm sorry, amethyst. It is a form of quartz, which agate is, but the crystals inside are amethyst crystals. Just absolutely beautiful. So I'm just going to take one long video and show you what's here at this museum to see. It is very impressive. They also have a very impressive gift shop that has lots and lots and lots of rocks. And wow, check out this pyrite down here. No, it's not gold, it's just that color. Pyrite, of course, as we learned earlier, was made from iron and some oxygen. I don't remember what else, but it's called iron pyrite, and it's heavy like gold, but it is not gold and not used for any type of jewelry that I know of, unless I guess you had some fool's gold jewelry, which would be kind of funny in an ironic way. And look at the monkeys carved out up here. All right, let's go into the other part of the museum. You're going to see lots and lots of fossils. Here's some slabs of petrified wood. And this was an interesting one to me. This is actually a real Triceratops bone that they excavated. You can see that they did the same thing we have done, and they put the plaster around the outside to protect the bone. Ammonites. We'll see a lot more of those in a few minutes. And they also have a whole bunch of skeletons all crammed into one little area. This used to be a gymnasium. You can still see the basketball lines on the floor. So right there in the key, that's where the dinosaurs are at, or the remains of the dinosaurs. Now, as I said before, some of these are composite skeletons because it's very hard to find a completely whole skeleton of these dinosaurs. So a lot of times they will make casts of them and of the bones and then piece them together. Sometimes they're both cast and composite, and sometimes they're completely artificial, but they've been cast from real bone, real fossils. Okay, look, here's another case of those ammonites I was talking about earlier. And of course there's a couple of modernized fossils, right? Dinosaur collectibles. Okay, they're made out of rubber. Cryonids, there's a bunch of them. Okay, and here's an Edmontosaurus. Something that Dr. Snyder pointed out to me was the way this guy eats. If you look in the back here, you'll see his bones for grinding, but there in front, he's kind of like, sorry, it's kind of like the original Barney, who is, got that one tooth going along the front there. And so that's been a mystery as to exactly how he ate, but we would like to know that. Here's some more petrified wood down here. It has not been polished up, but look at this. You can still see the growth rings in it. Here's a casting of a Triceratops skin, and they think that the possibility of these little bumps right here, they call them nipples, on some of the scales might have had some type of might have had some type of spikes on them, as in this picture shown right here. Some more ammonites, big ones up here on the stage. And of course, plenty of others. And I'm standing right under some type of turtle. Some of the things here say, please do not touch, and others say, please touch. Here's some more impressions that were made in the rocks and that they found. And I was looking at this one here and I said, boy, that would make a great decoration in your living room on the wall, wouldn't it? How would you like to be inside those jaws? Somehow I think I'd rather be somewhere else than inside there. Again, more ammonites and all kinds of other creatures similar to them, and cryonids and trilobites. Of course, can't have fossils without trilobites, right? And these impressions of these fish are just absolutely amazing. Loving watching all of this and seeing all of these bones from the past. Bones covered up in the flood. And I won't say the bone was covered up, I think the animal was covered up. But now we can see their remains, and of course by digging them up and finding their positions, a lot of times it can tell us a lot about the dinosaurs themselves, or a dinosaur or other type of animal. It can tell us how they took care of their young, if they did or if they did not. It can, but there's different things that it does tell us, and that's what scientists are looking for when they're digging these up. That's why we use a GPS locator on them. Here's another casting. Looks like of a mammoth tusk, but they've got it protected by the aluminum foil, and then of course the plaster of Paris around the outside, because a lot of times these bones, when they come out, they are very, very, very fragile. Here's one more thing I wanted to show you. The sign here says a woolly mammoth mummy named Dima, 4 months old at the death, and it says that it's a casting of her. But look at that casting. That is a very nice casting, and I'm sure the scientists were very excited when they found this particular fossil. So you see this model of an Edmontosaurus? This is mostly what I've been digging on all week long, and you can see his head. Oh, it's probably about 14, 15 feet up there in the air. Although they say now that he actually walked on all fours. Judging by the size and everything, I think he might have had a choice of standing up or laying down, or I mean not laying down, but being on all fours. But we are at the Mine School of South Dakota Museum of Geology, and of course all around this museum there are all kinds of exhibits. Some are actual bones, some are models or casts of bones, because it's very rare that they find a complete skeleton, and when they do, most of the time the skeleton is in not very good of shape, and so you have to protect it somehow. But this model here of the Edmontosaurus is actually a composite model. It has both, and so that's one of the things that we've been digging up this week during my dinosaur dig. Here's a very good picture, well, I say picture, fossilized picture of a fish. Is Diplomystus dentatus. Okay, I probably pronounced that wrong, but there he is. Next to it you have a fossilized turtle shell and some other things as we walk on down through here. Here are some fossilized eggs from dinosaurs. There appears to be a nest of them right there. And of course we have some others here. This comes from a marine reptile. In fact, let me go ahead and show you a good look at him. Looks like a big dragon, almost, going through the water. And then of course this guy up here, ooh, he's way up there. All right, there he is. What a long guy right there. But there he is, model of him. If you have not been to a museum like this, I suggest you go. You do have one near you in Georgia, down at the Tellus Museum. In just a minute, I'll show you some other things that you can also find at the Tellus Museum, which are here. Look at the detail that's been preserved in each one of these fossilized remains. Now I'm going into one of my favorite parts of the museum, and that is the part where the rocks are at. I always loved rocks. My mom can attest to that, but I always had a rock collection. May not be very impressive when I compare it to this collection, but I always enjoyed them anyway. And they're grouped by different kinds. You have the oxides, and ooh, there's an amethyst that they'll actually let me touch. Okay, so that's a huge chunk of amethyst right there. Not gem quality, but still amethyst. Sulfo salts, there you go. One of the things that I found out when I was getting into rocks is I realized there's a whole science behind it. And these rocks are very impressive when they come to the colors, where they come from. And you can have a lot of rocks that look exactly the same, but maybe something that's totally different. Here's a pretty one right here. Lazurite. All right, try this one on for size. This is aragonite. But look at the shape of those crystals. It looks more like it's a plant than it is a rock. But no, this is actually a rock or mineral. And I might use that term interchangeably, and I hope I don't make anybody upset. If it's one substance, it is a mineral. If it is multiple substances, then we call it a rock. And of course it could go a lot more detailed, but I'm not going to go into those details right now. That red one right there is beautiful. Here's some carbonates and carbonate crystals. That red that you see on that one that has the white and maybe gold looking, it looks like it might have a little bit of iron in it with all the red that's there. And then here are some more carbonates. Look at the colors of these. These are absolutely gorgeous. It is amazing what our God has made and what processes He put in the world to continue those things being made as we speak, actually. All right, and there you go. There is a very large piece of tiger's eye. Most of the time we don't see pieces that big because we buy the smaller ones in the little rock shops. But that's a very large slice of one right there. Here are some other crystals. Some of this is amethyst and quartz. They're all related to quartz, silicon dioxide. And interestingly, silicon dioxide is used in cake mixes as an anti-caking agent. So check the ingredients next time you go to the store and see if you don't find silicon dioxide. That's quartz. Here are some agates. They're called dry head agates, and they were donated to the museum back in 2007. There's a geode. So the question is this gold or is this fool's gold? Well, the white crystals you see are calcite crystals, but the gold crystals are actually pyrite, which is fool's gold. It's heavy, but it's not soft like gold, and it's not used for gems or for rings or anything like that. So that's what we would call fool's gold right there. However, I will say that that particular rock is probably worth quite a bit.